Okay, we're live. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rocky Wiles. I am the Compliance and Enforcement Manager for the Department of Cannabis Regulation. Today, we have a webinar that is going to be presented by our sister agency, the LA County Department of Public Health. And we will have two members from that department. Gary Hirschtick, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. He is the director of the Environmental Protection Branch, and Tao Kimura is the chief and of the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program, medical marijuana for the LA County Department of Public Health. I'm going to pass it over to them and hope you enjoy the webinar.
Thank you, Rocky. Good afternoon, everyone. As Rocky said, my name is Gary Hirschtick. I've been with the County of Los Angeles Department of Public Health, Division of Environmental Health, for the past 25 years at almost all levels of the organization, district field inspector in the retail, food, and licensing housing inspection programs, in quality assurance and compliance, leading the division's training unit for the new inspection staff, running district offices, countywide programs as a chief, environmental services manager in 2 different branches, and now I'm the director of the Environmental Protection Branch. And yes, I am tired. One of the recent programs that was implemented under the branch is the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program, which is responsible for reviewing and plan approvals for new commercial cannabis facilities, conducting site evaluations for pre-existing cannabis facilities, conducting routine inspections and complaint inspections at permitted cannabis facilities, and providing consultation to potential cannabis businesses. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ms. Tao Kimura, the Chief Environmental Health Specialist for the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program. Tao?
Hello, everyone. Thank you for
Tao, you're muted.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Why don't you turn down your volume?
Gary, here, Mike.
Tao seems to be having, did you mute? Tao seems to be having some technical difficulties, so we'll get to her in a little while. Let's continue. The purpose of the webinar, we're going to be covering the following 8 topics today: our role, health and safety concerns, critical and general requirements, site evaluation process, rooms and area evaluations, public health permit process, routine inspections, and the emblem and educational materials. Environmental health is a division within the County of Los Angeles Department of Public Health that provides oversight and regulatory services to protect the public and promote health through inspections, enforcement, and education. We enforce health laws for 85 cities in the county, as well as 124 unincorporated areas of Los Angeles County. We're probably best known for our retail food inspection program, you know, the A's, B's, and C's in the windows of food facilities. But the division also regulates beaches and public swimming pools, small water systems, sanitary landfills, massage parlors, tattoo parlors, theaters, laundries, a total of 22 different and distinct regulatory programs, and provides a lot of education through various types of outreach activities, this being one of those activities. In December 2017, LA County Board of Supervisors formally established the Office of Cannabis Management, OCM, and directed them to prepare regulations to allow and license medical and adult cannabis businesses and approve the Cannabis Facilities Ordinance, to authorize the Department of Public Health to conduct health and safety inspections for cities that contract with Los Angeles County. The ordinance allows or ensures that permitted facilities comply with state and local laws and regulations, and it enables us to regulate the different business operations like cultivation, manufacturing, distribution, and retail, storefront and delivery. As stated on the slide, commercial cannabis businesses are not currently permitted in the unincorporated areas of LA County. However, early this year, the Board of Supervisors approved the implementation of an equitable commercial cannabis regulatory framework in the unincorporated areas of LA County and directed Public Health to work with the Office of Cannabis Management to prepare regulations to allow and license medical and adult use cannabis businesses in county unincorporated areas. So stay tuned. But let's talk about the city of Los Angeles. Well, LA City is currently in contract negotiations with Public Health to provide the review and approval of plans for new commercial cannabis facilities, the availability of a site evaluation for pre-existing city-approved cannabis facilities, keep this one in mind, and provide 2 routine inspections per fiscal year and conduct complaint investigations at permitted cannabis facilities. So you might ask, why does Public Health need to evaluate pre-existing, currently operating city-approved cannabis facilities? Well, health and safety concerns are the reason we need to evaluate all facilities prior to issuing a public health permit. So the various concerns that we evaluate: general sanitation, vermin proofing. Facilities have to be constructed, equipped, maintained, and operated to prevent the entrance and harborage of animals, birds, and vermin, including, but not limited to, rodents and insects. Equipment requirements, whether the equipment that is installed is commercial grade. Water supply, ensure the facility has an adequate, protected, pressurized, potable supply of water, and it's from an approved source. Ensure the potable water supply is protected with a backflow or back siphonage protection device as required by applicable local plumbing codes, and ensure that the plumbing has been approved by the local building and safety department. Product safety, ensure whether the cannabis goods have passed state regulatory compliance laboratory testing. Ensure cannabis products that will be consumed by people are free of contamination and adulteration. Determine if there's adequate and suitable space for the storage of cannabis products and their ingredients, and determine if cannabis products meet labeling requirements set by the state. We also are concerned about employee health, hygiene, and habits. Ensure that employees working with cannabis goods are not experiencing a communicable disease that could expose the end user and/or fellow coworkers. And ensure employees are able to wash their hands thoroughly in a hand washing facility that meets the requirements before starting work, after each absence from the workstation, and at any time when their hands may have become soiled or contaminated. Remember, proper hand washing is a key element of preventing the spread of disease. But as I said, and you all know, this is a webinar for LA City applicants. So let's get back to the availability of a site evaluation for pre-existing city-approved cannabis facilities. So what is a site evaluation? A site visit to determine if a cannabis facility meets current health and safety code requirements. Here's the general process. But as you can see, the first two steps in the site evaluation process are reviewing requirements and verifying critical items are met. So let's take a look at those requirements, specifically the critical items needed. These site evaluation requirements will be available on our website very shortly. So you don't need to jot them down. They will be available. This is a somewhat different layout for general requirements applicable to all cannabis facilities. This slide also includes critical and non-critical items needed. We bring up the general and critical items needed because if you're thinking of taking advantage of the site evaluation process, all critical items must be present in order for your facility to pass the site evaluation. So let's drill down on critical items needed to pass. Are essential sinks available? Here's an example of an approved hand wash sink. At least one hand wash sink is required in the processing room, toilet room, and in the warewash area, if not in the processing room. Here's an example of an approved warewash sink. Has to be at least 3 compartments with 2 integral metal drain boards sloped towards the sinks. In the processing areas where cannabis products are prepared or packaged, or utensils are used, and the sink must be indirectly draining into a floor sink. An example of a preparation sink here, at least 1 compartment with 1 integral drain board sloped towards the sink, and this drains also indirectly into a floor sink. Here's an example of a mop sink, 1 compartment, non-porous sink, and this can be and should be directly connected to the sewer. Hot and cold water available at all your sinks. Warm water, a minimum of 100 degrees, measured at the hand wash sink. If your sinks have a pre-mixing faucet, it must supply a warm water between 100 and 108 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot water at warewash sinks, mop sinks, preparation sinks must be at least a minimum of 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Critical items needed to pass include an approved water heater with adequate rating and drainage. Condensate from the water heater should drain indirectly to a floor sink with an air gap. However, for pre-existing currently operating facilities that have an alternative method of drainage that was approved by the local building and safety department, public health will allow the alternative method. The number of toilets needed is determined by local building and plumbing codes, or local building. Okay, thank you. The picture on the left is an example of what your toilet area should look like. The picture on the right, right behind the wall on the other side of the toilet room, is a cultivation area. They poked a hole through the wall and they have the hose draining into the toilet. This is not approved. Manufacturing. Here's an example of an approved closed loop extraction system. Has to be approved by a California certified engineer, signed off by the fire department. An example of a hood for baking. And cooking without a hood requires prior approval from local building and safety department as well as the fire department. So now that you have an idea of what's considered a critical item that is required to pass a site evaluation, I've provided a decision tree. Let's call it the first fork in your road. Does your facility meet all critical items? If your pre-existing city-approved facility that has all the critical requirements and most, or if not all, of the general requirements are in place, you are best served if you take advantage of a site evaluation from a time and money standpoint. However, if your pre-existing city-approved facility does not meet all the critical requirements, we strongly recommend you don't request a site evaluation. And why? Because if you request and pay for a site evaluation the facility does not pass, you'll be instructed to submit plans for review and approval by public health, and the money spent for the site evaluation or evaluations, if you have more than one activity, will not be applied to plan review activities. Unsure what to do? Need an in-depth discussion? We offer consultation. Service fees do apply. So if your facility has all its critical items in place, you can go to our website. You'll see that it is found on our Cannabis page. Go to the information and documents, and you will see a site evaluation application. Download that and complete the application. Email your completed application to the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program for review. The program will forward via email an invoice to you. Turnaround time on sending you the invoice will depend on the volume of applications received. Bring your invoice with payment to our Baldwin Park headquarters, or you can mail both the invoice and the payment to the Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program. The program will then contact you to schedule a site evaluation. During the site evaluation, we're going to evaluate all the rooms and areas. We're going to look at the outside of the facility, general sanitation, ensure proper rodent proofing, the display area, the sales area, the grow room. Grow room areas must be adequate to produce clones, immature plants, seeds, and other products associated with the propagation and cultivation of cannabis. We'll look at the processing rooms. All rooms in which cannabis products and their ingredients are prepared or manufactured, including extraction, infusion, or packaging, must have self-closing doors and cannot open directly to the outside or to a toilet room. Other rooms that are going to be evaluated are the chemical storage area. We're looking to ensure that the pesticide labeling directions are complied with. Store chemicals in a secure building or shed to prevent access from wildlife. Contain all chemical leaks and immediately clean up spills. We'll also be checking to see if the pesticides are properly labeled. Employee locker rooms or dressing room areas. There has to be an area that employees can store their clothing or personal belongings that is separate from those where cannabis products are exposed or where equipment or utensils are washed. And then janitorial and the water heater area. Janitorial areas have to be provided for the storage of cleaning supplies. It shall be located in a designated area where contamination of equipment, utensils, linen, and single-use articles cannot occur. We'll also be looking at the trash area, both cannabis and non-cannabis waste. The location of the waste storage receptacles must be, the receptacle must be non-absorbent, watertight, durable, easily cleanable, galvanized metal or heavy plastic with tight-fitting lids. If any of the waste is located within the facility, the waste areas shall meet the requirements for floors, walls, ceilings, and vermin exclusion. If it's outdoors, waste storage or enclosures have to be provided. Floors have to be constructed of non-absorbent material, easily cleanable and durable. And the cannabis waste storage bin area must be secured to prevent public access. Toilet rooms have to have at least one toilet, a hand washing sink with hot and cold potable running water, a wall-mounted single-use soap and paper towel dispenser or air hand dryer, adequate lighting, proper ventilation, and a self-closing device on the door. We also, as I said before, look to ensure your facility is vermin-proof. The essence of vermin-proofing is keeping whatever is outside from coming inside. Therefore, vermin-proofing has to be implemented at all exterior openings exceeding 1/4 inch. That's about the circumference of a pencil. All exterior wall pipes and other openings must be tightly sealed, and exterior wall vents shall be properly screened with a 1/4 inch hardware mesh screening. Delivery doors have to be equipped with a micro switch activated air curtain, and all exterior doors must be self-closing. As said before, wall-mounted soap and paper towel dispensers or air hand dryers for all hand washing sinks. All equipment and plumbing fixtures must be approved and in good repair. Commercial grade refrigerators or freezers, whether they're a reach-in or a walk-in, have to be located within the facility and must open into an approved area. Proper ventilation throughout the facility is all about keeping each area free from excessive heat and condensation. You also want to ensure that there is proper air circulation to provide reasonable comfort for all your employees. Rooms and areas in which cannabis products are stored, processed, or packaged, where utensils are washed, where walk-in refrigerators and freezers are located, at employee locker rooms, where janitorial areas are located, and in all toilet rooms and hand wash areas, must have sufficient natural or artificial lighting. So the question becomes, what is sufficient? Well, this is kind of a disclaimer for pre-existing, currently operating facilities. The inspector is going to use a subjective determination. Is there enough light for the safety of the employees? Is there enough light to be able to adequately clean the areas? If the facility is new and going through the plan review process, an engineer could use the following table as guidance to the minimum lighting intensity requirements. Approved floors, walls, ceilings, cove base. Vinyl tiles, as you see there, are not acceptable flooring material, with the exception of the customer area or a prepackaged retail display area. We're looking for adequate shelving. We're looking for approved shelving. And the cannabis waste storage bin area must be clean and secured to prevent public access. So right now, if you're thinking, how am I going to remember all this information concerning requirements, critical items, what's supposed to be in each area? We have a cannabis facility inspection guide. It's available on our website, and all the information that I've just gone over is located in that inspection guide. Also, you can contact us if you have any questions. So let's say we've come to the end of your site evaluation. Good news, you passed. It means your facility is eligible to apply for a public health permit. It is possible that your facility passed the site evaluation, but we did observe some minor or non-critical items. Because re-inspections are not conducted on a site evaluation unless you request, and then an additional fee will apply, you should correct all minor deficiencies as soon as possible after the site evaluation. We'll check all pending corrections noted during the site evaluation during our routine inspection. If the violations are still present, they'll be included on the routine inspection report, and a re-inspection will be performed to ensure compliance. So it's always better to take care of those issues before the routine inspection. So facilities that are eligible to obtain a public health permit will be provided a public health permit application, either via email, or we can provide a hard copy at the conclusion of the site evaluation. The Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program will process your application and forward you the invoice. Again, turnaround time will depend on the volume of applications received. There are 3 ways to pay. You can bring your invoice with payment to our Baldwin Park headquarters, or you can mail both the invoice and the payment to the cannabis program, or you can even pay online by e-check or credit card. The Cannabis Compliance and Enforcement Program will then conduct an unannounced routine inspection. Hint, hint, hint. We're committed to conducting routine inspections within 2 weeks. So even though it is an unannounced inspection and all routines inspections are unannounced, you kind of know when we're coming. But shh, don't tell anybody, just between you and me. All permitted facilities will receive 2 routine inspections per fiscal year. Again, the first routine inspection will be conducted within 2 weeks after payment of the public health permit. Routine inspections can, and quite frankly should be, conducted with an on-site manager. And at the completion of the inspection, the facility will receive an official inspection report with all deficiencies documented. Here's an example of what our official inspection report looks like. You can download the Cannabis Facility Inspection Guide on from our website to use as a reference and be prepared for the routine inspection. There are 48 status boxes on the report that will be marked according to the inspector's observations. So possible compliance status markings are in compliance, in, out of compliance. You might see COS, which is corrected on site, NO, not observed, or NA, not applicable. The items that are marked out of compliance represent violations, and additional information will be provided on subsequent pages of the report, such as a brief description of the violation, corrective action needed, and what the inspector observed, which justified why he or she marked the violation as out of compliance. All violations must be corrected by the reinspection date, and that will be noted at the top portion, the header portion of page 1 of the inspection report, unless otherwise stated in the report. For retail facilities, this is for retail only, if no critical violations, and we've previously discussed what those are, were observed during the routine inspection, the inspector will post the following emblem at the entrance of the store and provide health education materials. The emblem indicates that the facility is an authorized cannabis store. The emblem also has a URL code, which links the user to the inspection results page of our website, so they can view the inspection report and read the inspection results. Also included on the emblem is our customer call center phone number, just in case someone wants to report public health concerns regarding the facility. Now, if critical violations were observed at the routine inspection, but corrected prior to the revisit after the reinspection, or excuse me, after the reinspection, the emblem will be posted at the entrance of the store and health education materials provided. So we'll either post the emblem after the routine inspection if everything looks great, or if you've corrected it by the end of the reinspection, we'll post the emblem then. These health education materials must be posted at the facility or available as handouts for customers at the facility at all times during business hours. So now, before we go any further, what if your facility did not pass the site evaluation? Now, we know that'll never happen, but what if? Or what if you didn't even request a site evaluation because you knew that your facility did not have all critical items? Plan submission is required for you to obtain your public health permit. Very brief overview of the plan submission process is provided on the screen. You will need an approval letter from the city when you submit plans, unless the contracted city already provided their list of approved applicants to us, public health, and your facilities on the list. Then you will not need to provide the approval letter from the city. Only one set of complete plans drawn to scale is required by our department. And remember that site evaluation fees will not be applied towards plan check activities. All the documents for plan review submission, such as the application, a facility plan review checklist, our construction guidelines document, are all available on our website. Before we go to final questions, as indicated previously, the approval process depends on whether your facility is a new facility from the ground up, or you've changed from a retail type store to a cannabis business. It depends on whether it's an existing city approved facility and whether the facility is located in a jurisdiction that has contracted with public health. So I'll leave this on the screen for a few seconds for you to absorb the information. New facilities in the city of Los Angeles need to obtain city and state approval, submit plans to public health for plan review, apply and obtain a public health permit to operate, get inspected 2 times per fiscal year, and for retail facilities that pass inspection will receive an emblem. So now we're going to give an opportunity for questions. I'm going to turn that over to Tao Komura.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tao Kumor. Let me give a quick intro. Thank you for joining us today. I have been with public health for 23 years now. Currently, I'm the chief of the medical marijuana and cannabis compliance and enforcement program. Prior to coming to the cannabis programs, I was in charge with the specialized food services and wholesale food program. I have worked with the food industry operators for most of my career. Now the clienteles with these current programs are different. In the medical marijuana program, I work with patients and medical doctors. Oftentimes, patients would ask which dispensaries are approved by public health. Okay, so if once you have the emblem, we can share that with the public. In the cannabis programs, I have provided guidance to project managers, consultants, and architects on new cannabis projects, and in contracted cities, assist operators through the approval and permitting process. I have worked with many wonderful owners and learned a lot from them regarding this industry in the past 4 years. So I'm here if you need any assistance. So if there's any question I can answer, please let me know. Rocky, if you can assist, are there any questions?
Rocky, would you like me to go ahead and do that?
Sure, yeah, go ahead, Gidget. She'll do that on behalf of our
Thank
department.
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just to all those present, yeah, if you guys could submit your questions, and we'll go ahead and read them live and have the folks from county answer them.
Okay, so the first question comes from Jessica and wants to know, how do you receive the emblem to display at an operating facility?
So the existing one, the options that Gary went over was either passing the site evaluation. If there's no critical violations, then the emblem will be posted at the end of that. Well, I'm sorry. If you pass the site evaluation, then you have to apply for the public health permit. Once payment is received, then the routine inspection will be conducted within 2 weeks. And end of that routine inspection, if there's no critical violation, then the emblem will be posted at the end of that inspection, the routine inspection.
Okay, so Yelena is asking, is there a compliance deadline for existing and operating LA retailers? And also, will this inspection be conducted along with the final DBS inspection before issuance of a COO or separately?
We have to, that have to be a further discussion with the city in terms of deadlines. And, if they want us to go, if public health can issue the approval, or we have to wait until the city approves. So that needs to be worked out.
Okay, thank you. Tom is asking if a retail emblem is issued after reinspection, does the QR code on the emblem link to both the original inspection results and reinspection results?
The QR code will only at the routine inspection.
Thank you. Vita is asking, is cultivation required to have a public health permit?
Yes, all activities.
That's all we have for questions at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, we have one more from Jonathan. Our understanding is that one of the primary benefits of this program is that it allows for another tool towards enforcement against unlicensed operations in the city. How does your department play a role in enforcement against unlicensed activities?
We would work with the sheriff. And we also have the nuisance abatement team. As you can see, our contact information is displayed. So if you have any further questions, you can either email or call us. And our website is on there for any documents that you need to access. More information will be posted.
One last question has to do with accessing this webinar recording in the future. And that will be available on the DCR website, Department of Cannabis Regulations for the City of LA. It will be hosted there on our website.
And for all those in our webinar, this is Rocky Wiles, Manager of the Compliance and Enforcement for DCR. We will go ahead and post these questions on our website, and we we'll develop some other FAQs, and also if you guys want to email questions to us, we'll go ahead and post the questions and answers on our website. So please go ahead and visit our About page in the Events submenu, where you will see the recording of this webinar. I think there's one more question there, Gidget.
Oh, sure. Javier wants to know, are micro businesses inspected as one total inspection? And then secondarily, he asks, if a retailer also has cultivation and is not a micro business, can those inspections be separated?
So micro business, for us, we permit individual activity. And I know from working with a lot of owners, they do not have micro license from the state. They want individual one, because if there's any major corrections or for each activity, you don't want that to tie into one permit, because if there's a suspension, it will affect all activities. So you can, we permit each individual activity. If there's an issue with, let's say, cultivation, only cultivation would be effective, not the retail.
One additional question: is there a cannabis flow chart that will be generated for all the steps?
in terms of how to get the permit?
It's not specified in the
Oh,
question.
okay. We
Yeah, I
can't,
think that, our applicants, Tao, are
Uh-huh.
used to looking at our workflows that we have on our website. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that the question is about, the whole workflow from beginning to end.
So,
Site
okay.
evaluation to emblem.
I see. We can create one for the applicants, for the operators, if that would be helpful for them. So Rocky, do you want us to share with you and you can post it on DCR?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other question, Gidget?
And
No.
DCR will be sending out communications to our applicants, giving them heads up when, the inspections are going to start and more information to come. So this is just the first step.
So I'm available if you have any additional question, so you can be prepared for the next step.
I'm not seeing additional questions.
Okay, well, we appreciate everybody who attended the seminar. You have the email there, and you can also email dcrlicensing@lacity.org if you have any questions that, and we're working in, coordination with the county, so we can also forward those questions to the county. So if there's nothing else, I think that does it for this webinar.
There is one additional question. Do you want to try answering that before? I want to be
Let me
judicious of time. Okay. Chloe
Yeah.
is asking, is there an email list we can be added to for this important information prior to applications?
Yeah, we can, I'll take that, Tao.
Yeah.
We can create, I believe that on our website, Erin, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, we do collect emails for various types of communications that people can opt in or opt out.
That's right. And in this case, we're going to be, you can sign up for email alerts on DCR's website at cannabis.lacity.org. There's also if you have a temporary approval with the city, we're going to be targeting emails specifically to those people for this program because it's going to apply to everybody with temporary approval. So we're probably going to get
local
compliance
underway.
Sent emails. So so make sure to check if you're in Excella, make sure you have your contact information up to date in Excella because we'll be targeting emails to the emails that you submitted to us to get in contact with you about things like this.
And the last question, there's
one more from Ariana. When are we expecting inspections to start?
That's when the city let us know, because the approved applicants have to decide if they want to request a site evaluation. Then once the site evaluation starts, and if they pass, then after the permit, then that'll be the routine. After the routine, it'll be the emblem.
Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions.
Thank you, Gidget.
Thank you, Gidget.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tao. And, glad we're working together.
We're here. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
All right.
everyone.
All right, bye-bye.